Boys, girls, all my trombolos out there, welcome back. Other Robert, and this is the mega crossover event that CW has been advertising for months, right? Since like Comic Con. It's finally here, and last night they said it would begin on Supergirl, but then some sources were saying not really, and yeah, it was not really. We saw at the very end Barry come in and get Supergirl, and then that was within the first few minutes of tonight's episode of Flash, which is, I guess, in this four-part crossover, this was part two. So then now is Arrow, and then Legends of Tomorrow, and they left us with quite the cliffhanger for that. But great episode. Definitely a great episode. The pacing is right. This had its own story, whereas it seems like Arrow will be having its own story, and this felt like an episode of The Flash. I mean, the focus was on Flash's team, really. I mean, we had HR and Wally having an exchange. We saw Cisco still annoyingly having his problem, which, you know, me and Rob have beaten that issue to death, but really at this point it's just more so annoying than... It's a very contrived plot device, but he would kind of just bring down the episode when he was in it, Cisco, so, you know, they kept it going, though, I guess, so that's good, furthering up a Flash storyline. And there's one thing I just kind of want to say, too. They're battling aliens, and I know they bring all of them plus Supergirl together for this, and it kind of begs the question, why not with big villains like Savitar do you not do this? So it kind of buries someone like Savitar or Alchemy, and Iris said a point to Wally, with Alien, Savitar, Alchemy, you can't do this. So she kind of threw Savitar and Alchemy kind of on that danger level with the aliens, and it was a little thing. I know it's very nitpicky, but I love that. I think that adds credibility to the villains, and although this is some mega crossover event, it didn't knock Savitar and Alchemy any bit. It didn't make them feel smaller because it's just really Flash going up against, if that makes sense. But I appreciated that line, and Iris, I think her character's come a long way this season so far. I think she's doing her best work this season as opposed to to the previous two seasons. But excuse me, I really enjoyed this episode. It was good to see Legends get the rub. Right, the Legends is around with Arrow and Flash, and they got the rub here. They were around these stronger characters, and it made them seem strong by comparison. So, Legends of Tomorrow is not something I've been consistently watching, because it's just 4 is too many, I think. But seeing them in this episode kind of made me want to watch it. Mick was great, which was not something that was a thing last season. He wasn't really that great last season. So, it was good to see them in this capacity, because it was fun, and that's what this episode was. It was a lot of fun, and it seems like they're going to be bringing in the intensity in the next coming couple of episodes. So, as for an overall story, still don't fully know. The Dominators are there to abduct people, I guess, and perform tests, and it looks like they're doing that with the heroes in Arrow. So, excuse me. I think this worked great. It was really the introduction. I'm not going to really consider Supergirl as the introduction, although I feel Supergirl could have benefited from that. But, however, it wouldn't have really felt like a Supergirl episode, whereas tomorrow's episode feels like it could be an Arrow episode, because Katie Cassidy will be in there. Because when they do this, they've done this since they started doing the crossovers, and it's nice the way they execute it, where each episode, I said this earlier with how this went, when it's in that time slot, it's really modeled after whatever it's supposed to be. So tonight was supposed to be The Flash, and it felt like The Flash, with everyone else in there. Tomorrow, same thing. It seems like it's going to be Arrow with everyone else in there. And, I think that's just, it's effective. It's been effective the past couple crossovers, and I think it's really it was effective again tonight. And really, I'm just looking forward to seeing the rest of these episodes. I'm sure you guys are too. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this episode, and they went with the gimmick where they all fight. Right? We've seen this in the crossovers before. So I just want to say, with an episode that had so many characters, some still managed to stand out. Diggle was a prominent role. Stein was a prominent role. I mean, so many characters and such little screen time when you think about it, just an hour. But I feel like a lot of characters really, they had their shine. You know, they had their spot, and I don't think really anyone looked not really weak, but at first impression, I know people could say, "Oh, White Canary didn't have enough" or something like that, but it felt like they juggled around the airtime, being on camera, well, if that makes sense. Especially with so many characters, you know, you're not going to appeal to everybody. You're not going to please everybody, but I thought they juggled it appropriately. I thought it was proportioned nicely. But that's all I'm going to say about tonight's episode of the Flash's crossover event. The event will continue tomorrow with Arrow. So let me know what you guys thought about this introduction to this crossover. And subscribe because it takes around this much effort to do so. Until next time, you have been Trump Dust.